Mic check 1, 2. We're good. So you're sitting there with YouTube open right now, you're obviously looking at a screen. Take a quick second and check your posture. How is it? Are you slouched? Are you hunched over like this? Are you sitting upright with your shoulders down and back? Likely you're slouching, which is how I'm usually sitting when I'm at a computer, and your neck is probably craned forward. Maybe your jaw's tight. Perhaps you're a little bit uncomfortable. Take a second, take a deep breath. Relax the shoulders down and back and make the posture erect. Today's video is going to change the way you think about your posture, but before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up if you're a fan of my 5-day challenges and you want more. Let's do it. Whenever I'm trying new challenges, especially health-related challenges, I always turn to Healthline and their articles. Their articles give me actionable tips, a whole bunch of support, and expert advice. And actually, back when I did my 5 days of an ice facial challenge, I was referencing a Healthline article throughout, and they reached out to me to see if I wanted to partner on yet another challenge. So this time we're partnering on their 30 days of posture challenge. I'm putting the link to their article down below in the description box, but of course, you know me, I wanted to turn it into a 5-day challenge, so I consolidated all of the info from the 30-day challenge and converted it into a 5-day challenge. So here is 5 days of improving my posture. Thank you to Healthline for sponsoring this video. So last week, I started this challenge, and here's what I did on Monday. On day 1, I started off with a posture check. So all you have to do is stand against the wall. You're supposed to put your heels 6 inches away from the wall, and then you stand with your back against the wall. So your shoulder blades should be touching the wall, and your butt should be touching the wall. I had a little tape measure to make sure that I was exactly 6 inches from the wall on my feet, and then I tried to measure the space between my lower back and the wall, and also my neck and the wall. They say it's supposed to be 2 inches or less. A larger gap indicates that you have impaired posture. I had about 1.5 inches between my lower back and the wall and just about 2 inches between my neck. I also took a photo of myself standing sideways to see what my posture looked like. And I do want to call out, I was aware that this photo was being taken, so I think it looks okay. The truth is, if you would have caught me in the middle of a workday at my desk, I'm sure it would have looked like this. This is how I sit. I always try to do this, but I wind up like this. So after completing my posture check, I rolled out my yoga mat and I started doing some awareness exercises. This is a routine that Healthline suggests that you do morning and night for your posture challenge. So the first pose I did was an active child's pose for 1 minute. This just felt good to get down in the stretch, let my arms extend in front of me, and just lie down on the ground. Then I did some cat-cows for 2 minutes, which I'm used to doing in my yoga classes. I did a chest opening stretch. And then to wrap up the routine, I did a little bit of forward folding and 2 minutes of a standing cat-cow. The standing cat-cow looks hilarious. I'm not sure if I've ever done a standing cat-cow before, but I will say it definitely loosened up my back muscles. It had me feeling more aware of my body by the end of the day. And I think the whole purpose is to lengthen your spine and just release tension in your body. As I'm sitting here, I went like this and I realized that my posture sucks. Cool, so that was day 1. On Tuesday, the goal was to strengthen my core muscles while being super mindful of my posture and maintaining that proper alignment. Today I'm doing planks. I actually hate planking. Whenever I'm planking with Michael, he always tells me that we're planking for a minute, but then he sets the timer for 1.5 minutes and he tricks me into doing a longer plank than I want to do. I'm gonna practice a few sets of planks today, and then I think I'm doing down dogs, and then it's back to the regular exercises that I did yesterday. So today is just a little bit of a comfy core day. I've got some cozy sweatpants on, and let's work the core. Let's burn those abs, baby. I tend to do planks on my forearms. Usually I think those are harder to do, but I did a high plank on Tuesday and it was pretty hard. So I don't think there's an easy plank situation. When you're in a high plank, it really requires that you're aware of your spinal position as well as the intense engagement of those ab muscles. And that's all integral for correcting your posture. So I was definitely trying to keep my spine in a straight line, trying to keep my butt down, trying to keep my arms straight, all that good stuff. The article gives a step-by-step breakdown of how to properly do all of these exercises. So definitely reference the article. Don't follow my body position. You want to make sure your chest isn't collapsing or sinking forward. You have to keep your shoulder blades back and everything needs to be up. I set a timer to time myself, and I just went through that a few times. And after doing about 5 rounds of high planks, I completed 4 sets of downward facing dogs. I'm very familiar with this pose from yoga. I really tried to get a stretch in with it. Honestly, by the end of the day, I was feeling so much better than I normally feel at the end of a work day because I had just gotten a little bit of movement in. Also, the awareness routine that I had done on Monday, I did that on Tuesday as well, and I kept that up for the entire week. So every single day I added a little bit of those movements in just to make sure I was keeping up somewhat of a routine. I think when it comes to posture and trying to improve your posture, a lot of this is just about exercises and subtle movements to elongate yourself and stretch yourself out. So whether you're doing this as a 30-day challenge or a 5-day challenge, or even if you just want to try to sneak it in one day, focus on those exercises and poses to really stretch yourself out and elongate yourself. So on Wednesday, I was combing through the article and I realized that there are just a whole bunch of exercises that they want you to do. Remember, the Healthline article is a 30-day challenge, so I decided that what I needed to do was sort of consolidate a lot of those moves and just set up a 20-minute workout session for myself. And I decided that on Wednesday, I wanted to focus on hip strength and flexibility. So I started with my favorite pose in the whole world, pigeon pose. Not everyone loves pigeon. I know Michael hates pigeon, but I am a total pigeon baby. And essentially I got into my pigeon pose and I just sat there for like 5 minutes on each leg. That's such a good hip opener. It feels really good. It's just a great way to get things open and moving and just let yourself melt into the floor. So I did pigeon pose on each side, followed by 12 reps of side plank, which is really hard. Hip ups, where I'm sort of in a forearm plank and I push my hips up, and then those twists and dips when you're in the forearm plank. Really, really challenging 20-minute workout that I did before I did my work for the day, so it really set me up with my blood flowing and my brain ready to go. Wednesdays are usually big editing days for me. I'm basically just sitting at my computer 4 hours, staring at the screen, zooming in really close to the Adobe Premiere sequence bar and editing videos. So thankfully, part of the challenge today was to start diving into setting up a proper work posture. So to do this, I basically just needed to have reminder alarms on my phone going off every 20 minutes. I set a movement reminder, and every single 20 minutes from literally like 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., I had this alarm go off. And every time the alarm went off, I just stepped away from my desk and did 30 seconds to a minute of some standing cat-cow. If it weren't for the reminders, there's just no chance I was gonna remember, and there's no chance I was gonna stop what I was doing and stand up. Often when I'm in the zone, I just am really in the zone and time seems to fly, especially these days when it's getting dark really early. It's like 1 minute I'm working and the next minute the sun is set. If you're watching this right now, I would highly recommend going into your phone, opening the alarm feature, and setting an alarm at intervals of every 20 minutes from now to the end of the day. And each time it goes off, just stand up for 30 seconds. I promise you can do it. It seems like it's gonna waste your time, but 30 seconds of standing up and refreshing, resetting, aligning your spine, it just really clears your head and lets you sit back down to do your work feeling like you're not sedentary. Thursday, day 4. Day 4 was all about counteracting my work posture. So to be honest, I mentioned this before, but I have pretty bad posture when I'm sitting at my computer. And I often sit there for long stretches of time, neck craned forward, shoulders slouched down. Honestly, when I sit up, sometimes my back cracks, which I don't think is good. So I continued that awareness routine that I was doing every single day, morning and night. However, on Thursday, I began to add a little bit to it. So during the day, I did 2 minutes of chest and hip opening stretches. And I was also instructed to do these chest and hip stretches every 2 hours to help counteract my work posture. So I set an alarm for every 2 hours, and here's how you do it. So you start on one knee, you have your opposite foot planted in front of you. Make sure your legs are far enough apart so that your back leg can be sort of lengthened, and your front knee has to remain stacked above your ankle. You place your hands on the front knee, you tuck your pelvis in and your tailbone slightly forward, and that's gonna activate your glutes. We love activating the glutes. And when you're ready, you just release the hip of your back leg forward and kind of press down towards the floor. I was copying what the girl looks like in the Healthline article, in the little video that they play of her, and I think I was doing it right, but I basically just reached down and felt a deep, deep stretch in my hips and also opened my chest. So I repeated this on both sides a few times. Also, part of the challenge for day 4 was to create a standing desk space. I've used a standing desk before. Actually, at Refinery 29, I used to have an electrical standing desk. So it had a little remote control on it, and I would press a button and it would go up and then I'd press another button and it would go down. I did not take that with me when I left, unfortunately, so I don't have it, but it's really easy to create a standing desk even if you just have a windowsill and a couple of books or boxes. So basically what I did is I went over to my little plant and candle corner. This is my favorite spot in the apartment. It gets afternoon sunlight. It's also right next to my favorite shelves that are stacked with my favorite items. So it really has great energy over there. There's a lot of greenery and candles. I actually lit a candle and stacked up a couple of boxes. I put my computer on the highest box so that it was eye level. And then on the lower box, I put a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse tracking pad. And then I just did my work from that spot standing on my 2 feet. I think it's really important if you're creating a standing desk for yourself to do it in a zone that makes you feel happy and comforted and positive. This little corner of my apartment just screams creativity and natural sunlight. And also it's really important to remember that you don't need anything special to build this standing desk. I just took a couple of boxes from some packages I had received and I put my laptop right on top of them. I worked there comfortably throughout the day. I had a nice view of the street down below. It was really nice to just be able to look up and see sky instead of just seeing my computer monitor and the back of my wall. I also have some candles and greenery in the space. This one's fake, but it looks kind of real. And yeah, this is my little desk setup. I think that a standing desk is really good just to keep you on your feet. I'm so used to sitting down all day, so it's been great to be standing, working, keeping the computer eye level, which is really good for my posture. And I think I like this corner. Like, I might not ever let this standing desk corner go. I'm probably gonna dismantle it tonight. So I would highly recommend building a DIY standing desk using some books or boxes. Day 5, the last day of my posture challenge, was basically about figuring out how to sit properly. We think we know how to sit. From the time we're babies, we really feel like we're just doing it right and it's easy. But when you actually look at yourself from the side, you're not doing it right. So every 20 minutes on this day, I made sure to correct my posture in a whole number of ways. Number 1, not crossing my legs. You want both feet planted on the ground. Number 2, you do not want your neck to be craned forward, your jaw tight. You don't want to be scrunching up your shoulders like this, which I do all the time. So don't slouch or jut your neck forward. And lastly, don't bend over at the waist. You want to make sure that your top of your shoulders is in line with your hips and that you are just straight like an ironing board. Another thing that's important for us, because we are all on our phones all the time, is to make sure that when you're using your phone throughout the day, you're holding it eye level. I am totally the person who's like this with my phone. And there's actually a thing called text neck that we get, which is when our neck is jutted forward. And in the Healthline article, they actually cite a study that found that even the slightest tilt of your neck, like just 15 degrees, can make your 10-pound head feel like it's 27 pounds. And that can be really bad for your neck. No wonder we all have neck pain. No wonder we have migraines. I'm self-diagnosing here, but I think I found the issue. So I made sure just all throughout the day on Friday, I was counteracting that text neck and counteracting that posture, keeping my phone eye level, in my eyesight. I cannot say that I felt a noticeable difference in how my neck felt after doing that for one day, but if I do continue that over the course of, the next month or so, perhaps my neck will release a little bit of tension. I'll let you know. Stay tuned. So after my 5 days of posture challenge, I took a photo back in the wall where I took the photo on Monday, and here's the before and here's the after. I really think there's a noticeable difference, honestly, just from the fact that I was doing stretches. People say that throughout the day, this is something I don't know if it's true, but if you know if it's true, let me know. People say that when we wake up, we're our tallest because we just got our sleep and we stand up, and that's when our spine is as tall as possible. And then they say that because of gravity, our spine gets crunched throughout the course of the day. I don't know if that's true. But I will say that I did this measurement at the end of the day on Friday, and I think it looked better than it did in the morning on Monday. And that's just from 5 days of doing a whole handful of stretches, making sure I was stopping and pausing in the middle of my workday to correct my posture, consistently moving my shoulders down and back, and just thinking more about my posture than I ever have before. So if you're sitting here watching this YouTube video, if you feel like your posture needs help, I would highly recommend you check out the Healthline article and the 30-day posture challenge below. If you want to do this in 5 days, just follow exactly what I did in this video, and hopefully you'll see some improvements in your posture in just 1 week. And honestly, if you're looking at these photos and you're thinking, she looks no different from Monday to Friday, okay, cool, I hear you. Maybe my posture didn't improve drastically. Maybe I didn't change and become a new person. But I will say that even just by doing these tiny little stretches throughout the day, I was feeling physically better. I think I actually said out loud a number of times, Feels so good. Because I'm just not used to giving my body a break during the workday. I'm not used to getting up. I'm not used to rolling out my yoga mat in the middle of a workday and doing something to counteract that work posture. So it's just these little tiny things that you can do throughout the course of a day that will ultimately have a big final cumulative effect if you do them all the time. So if you like this challenge and you want to try improving your posture, definitely check out Healthline's 30-day challenge. I'll put the link in my description box. Also, let me know what other 5-day challenges you want to see from me, and I'll see you next time right here on my YouTube channel. See ya. Bye.